One Battle After Another is the latest film from acclaimed director Paul Thomas Anderson and tells the story of a revolutionary group called the French 75. This was easily my most anticipated film for the rest of 2025. As I've talked about many times on here and other platforms and stuff like that, 2025 has been a really down year for film. It's been pretty dry, and I think that we really needed a jolt or just something to give us something to talk about even. And finally, One Battle After Another is here, and it will, at the very least, spark a lot of discussion. Paul Thomas Anderson has always been at the forefront of new ideas in film, trying new stuff out, new ways of telling certain stories, and worried me a little bit with Licorice Pizza back in 2021 that he was reverting back to making safer films. Not to say that Licorice Pizza is awful or that, he really had a huge misstep with that film. It's just that it felt like he was regressing, not pushing forward. Especially coming off the heels of Phantom Thread, one of his most vulnerable and daring films to date, I was worried that maybe we were going to see a little bit more of that safeness in his next movie, and I really didn't know what to expect from One Battle After Another. Thankfully, though, this movie was a gigantic surprise and is easily one of my favorites of the year. One Battle After Another delivers exactly what I wanted it to. It's interesting, it's going to be a little contentious, it's going to spark debate, it's going to spark discussion, and it's fantastic in my eyes. This is one of the most pertinent and important movies we've gotten in quite some time, and I think that Paul Thomas Anderson really came back into his own in a way that I didn't even know was possible. We're seeing a really influx of older auteur directors really make films that are a little self-aggrandizing, but are very much a commentary on their own past work. We saw it with Wes Anderson, we saw it with Martin Scorsese. So that's kind of what I was expecting out of One Battle After Another. This movie could not be further from that. This film feels incredibly fresh and feels like a very young voice made this film, not somebody who's, almost 30, 40 years into their directing career. It was really shocking to see him take this bold of a stance and make this complex of a movie. It is a little hard to talk about One Battle After Another and why it works so well without spoiling anything, but I really want to break it down into a couple of different categories. I think a major reason why this movie works so well is its pace. It's a long movie, don't get me wrong. It's almost 3 hours. It's a marathon for sure. But the way PTA is able to use different filmmaking techniques to push the plot along and always keep you guessing, always keeping you on your toes, always kind of keeping you a little bit out of breath because of what is going on in the best way possible, of course. And he uses that through the score, through a lot of the music choices, through editing, through certain shot composition. It's very much a strategically and methodical pace that is, again, it's almost undescribable. This movie's pulse is so apparent and you can feel it right away, and you are immediately sucked into its world and doesn't ever let go of that grasp until the end credits roll. This movie is also kind of strange tonally. It has a lot of comedic elements, has a lot of really serious stuff, it has a lot of absurdist humor and satirization stuff, it's got a lot of really great action. This movie is throwing a lot at the wall, but it really glues together in a way you wouldn't expect it to. Not once did I feel like a moment was out of place or didn't fit the overall vibe of the film, and when you're dipping your toes into this many different genres and styles, it's really hard for it all to come together like this movie does. I also have to commend all of the performances. They're all fantastic across the board. None of them I really want to single out in particular other than Chase Infinity. Her performance as a revolutionary's daughter who is mixed up in this entire mess for circumstances completely out of her control is fantastic, and I think she really handled a pretty big workload really well. She's acting with all of these heavyweight actors and people that, she could have easily been outshone by, but honestly, I came away from this film thinking she had the best performance out of all of them. And that's not to say anybody else was bad. Leo DiCaprio was doing his usual thing, and honestly, he was one of my favorite parts of the film. Benicio del Toro was great. Sean Penn was chilling as the villain. I think that he gives a really slimy and disgusting performance that works so well. One of the best antagonistic performances we've gotten in a while. Regina Hall is fantastic. Tiana Taylor is great. Elena Hayem is fantastic. There are so many great different working elements in terms of the cast, and they all really work well off of each other. The film's themes and goals of kind of showing the corruption of power and why people make certain decisions that they do in very politically charged situations like this is very interesting and easily what makes this movie as great as it is. The film dives into extremism at both ends of the spectrum and tries to humanize why these people are doing these things. It's never making a hero out of the people that shouldn't be heroes. It's not glorifying anything like that. But it's showing you, right-wing extremism and left-wing extremism and why people are involved in it, why they make the decisions that they do. Because people are driven by their own selfishness, by their own needs, by their own wants. And this movie really shows that no one person should have the amount of power that Colonel Lockjaw has in the film, because they can abuse the situation so easily like he does in the film. Again, I don't want to get into specifics because I kind of have to really explain it in full, but I don't want to spoil anything. I actually am thinking of doing a spoiler review of this movie at some point, so let me know if you're interested in that at all. But just know that this movie really handles its subject matter in a way that was so nuanced and pertinent that I found it to be the most interesting part of the film. It's also great that PTA is as energetic and as thoughtful as he ever has been. Again, this is a story that I wasn't really expecting him to ever tell, and I think that him filtering all of this like politically charged storytelling through his usual filter really worked out well. He's doing a lot of daring things with the camera. He is pumping a lot of energy into this film. He's moving it along at a brisk pace, but also not being afraid to show off and kind of flex his ability, and it works. This movie is still through and through a PTA film, but it's a PTA movie that we never thought we would see. It's something new, it's something daring, and it really isn't like anything else I've seen in quite some time. From the kinetic energy of the editing, from the camera work that feels very daring and out there, performances that felt so true to life and real, characters that all were very specific, and again, the subject matter that they choose to tackle and the way they tell the story all come together in one of the most complete movies of 2025. And not only of 2025, but of the decade in general. Once again, Paul Thomas Anderson continues to be a bastion of pushing filmmaking forward and trying new stuff and taking bold risks, and this movie might be one of his boldest risks he's ever taken. He swung for the fences and absolutely knocked it out of the park. So for that, I'm gonna give it a really strong 4.5 out of 5. Let me know what you thought of this movie in the comments down below. Let me know if you want to see that spoiler review, because I feel like I could go way deeper by spoiling certain elements of the film. And yeah, I will see you with the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, like, subscribe. It really helps out, and I will see you with the next review. Thank you so much.